ओके
नमस्कार, वेलकम टू कॉमन इंडियन वॉइस। आज हम लोग फिर से फ्रीडम फाइटर्स की बात करेंगे। मुझे लगता है कि वो टॉपिक जो हम लोगों ने किया है, एक सीरीज जो किया है, वो खत्म नहीं होता है। हमारे देश में इतने फ्रीडम फाइटर्स हैं और इतने लोग जिनके बारे में किसी को कुछ नहीं मालूम है, तो मुझे पता नहीं, अंदर से लगा कि फिर और करेंगे। आज हमारे स्पेशल गेस्ट मिस्टर देवाशीष सेन गुप्ता कलकत्ता से ज्वाइन हुए हैं और वो बंगाल के 3 बहुत ही जाने पहचाने, बहुत रिस्पेक्टेड फ्रीडम फाइटर्स के विषय में बात करेंगे। वेलकम मिस्टर सेन गुप्ता।
थैंक यू
We would my viewers would love to know what you are going to speak about today.
well Bengal has thrown up many freedom fighters, many revolutionaries. Amongst them, I would today like to discuss about Binoy Badal Dinesh, the 3 initials that have been taken up as a landmark of Calcutta. B.B.E. Bad, Binoy Badal Dinesh. All these 3 were below 20. They sacrificed their life for the sake of their motherland.
Okay.
Now, as it turns out to be, Binoy Badal Dinesh, all 3 were greatly influenced by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. How Netaji galvanized the youth of the country, and more particularly the youth of Bengal. Be it Surya Sen and his disciples, be it Binoy Badal Dinesh, be it Bhagajyoti, name anybody, everybody was influenced by Subhash Chandra Bose. Now, particularly coming to Binoy Badal Dinesh, they were absolutely in their teens, early 20s. They sacrificed their life. The irony of their sacrifice lies in the fact that history has neglected them. And like them, many others have been neglected by history. Thanks to the Gandhi and Nehru philosophy of Indian democracy. Because of their inclination, these freedom fighters have been marginalized. They have been marginalized to the extent that you won't believe a 18-year-old lad, a 19-year-old lad, a 20-year-old lad could get up and revolt against the British. Binoy, if I am not wrong, was the one who had suffered an injury made by his comrade and landed up in hospital. He was sure to face the drilling of the British, the torture of the British. To avoid these 2 things, he kept on wounding himself at the same spot where he was hit with the bullet, to the extent that he ultimately died at the hospital. One of the comrades, Binoy Badal Dinesh, one of the comrades was shot dead by his fellow member over there in the right hand field. He collapsed. And the other one just could not make it. I should say, could not make it to his final destination, and he survived And what happened to him? He was hanged to death at Alipur Central Jail. The sacrifice of Bengalis, the sacrifice of Bengal has been neglected by the Indian political system. Bengal has been at a geographical disadvantage. Famine, drought, flood are very common over here. Till date, this has not been resolved. And during the British Raj, when these were opposed by the public, they were declared as traitors. This gave rise to the violence against the British in Eastern India. And in spite of Mahatma Gandhi declaring a non-cooperation, violent movement, Bengal was always violent. The violence was a reciprocation of what the British did to us. The way our common people, our leaders were treated, the way Gandhi, Nehru, and others were, given a privilege compared to that of Subhash Bose, Rajbihari Bose, had led to this
People hardly know
violence.
Chittaranjan Das. People don't even know about Chittaranjan Das.
Definitely, people know about C.R. Das as the guru of Netaji, but they don't know how C.R. Das influenced Netaji. C.R. Das was definitely, I would say, a very big disciple of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He believed in non-violence. He never indulged any violence. But Netaji saw the oppression, the exploitation made by the British on the common people. And that is why he got this approval for taking up violence against the violent people. And that is how Bhagajyoti, Surjo Sen, Binoy Badal Dinesh, Khudiram Bose, Profullo Chaki, everybody got involved in the freedom struggle. Binoy Badal Dinesh have become I'm very sad to say that Binoy Badal Dinesh have become a landmark of that. It's really tragic. Why should they be treated as a landmark of India, of Calcutta? They deserve a much more higher place. Look at the way Bhagat Singh has been patronized. Bhagat Singh, his mother was called as Rajmata. But what about Khudiram Bose? What about Profullo Chaki? What about Binoy Badal Dinesh? What about Bhagajyoti? Nobody remembers them. History has totally been very, very unscrupulous in emitting them to their syllabus.
You know that I teach class 10, right? In the class 10
Right.
history book, there's a chapter about nationalism in India, and there is no mention of these people, but you will be surprised there is no mention of Lal Bahadur, Bal Gangadhar Tilak. He is also not there.
No.
Chandrasekhar Azad is not there. Bismil is not there. Nobody is there. Subhash Chandra Bose is not there. Can you imagine?
No. many of them, whether it is Chandrasekhar Azad, whether it is Bal Gangadhar Tilak, whether it is what should I say, Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, name whosoever you want, they have been given some place in history.
Yeah, Binay Badal and Dinesh, nobody
But
other than the Bengalis, nobody knows them.
what about Khudiram Bose? What about Prafullo Chaki? Who knows about them? Who knows about Tangra?
Yeah,
Tangra was just a 16-year-old lad who had sacrificed his life in the Chittagong case.
exactly.
How was Shutyos Sen tortured and hanged?
Yeah.
The sacrifice of Bengal has been maximum in the independence struggle. The reason behind that, I feel is that the geographical disadvantage which Bengal had for a long time and even prevails today. The flood, the drought, the natural calamities that Bengal face even today are testimony to the fact that how Bengal is neglected even in independent India. If today Mamata Banerjee claims something or Jyoti Bose claims something against the center, it is because of the stepmotherly attitude of the center towards Bengal. This has been a policy since the British Raj. The British Raj was very fierce in dealing with opposition in Bengal at that time. So you had many revolutionaries in Bengal compared to the rest of India. In Bengal, the revolutionaries were violent. That culture has even continued till date. We are till now recognized as a violent political state.
Mm.
But the fact of the matter is that these operations carried out by the British was really something which did not happen across all of India. This happened only in Bengal.
It
That
was
is why,
exploited very badly.
very badly, and that is why 16-year, 18-year, 19-year-old lad, we are today 60 years old, so we can call them lads. These lads sacrificed their life and they have not been given their due
Yes.
in
True.
history, and thanks to the Nehru Gandhi Congress culture, they have promoted themselves. That's
Mm.
all they have done, is they have promoted themselves. They have ignored everybody. Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, Rajguru, Sukhdev, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, even
Savarkar,
Gokhale,
look at Savarkar.
who, whosoever you name,
No,
they
but
occupy
the
they
tragedy,
occupy
tragedy
only
with Savarkar
two.
is that today Savarkar is considered to be a blot on our freedom struggle. But he suffered in Andaman and Nicobar.
He
That,
suffered everywhere, and many. What I am trying to say
and
is that
it's a tragedy. It is a
all
tragedy.
all non-Congress freedom fighters who have gained some acceptability are given two sentences in our history book.
Not even that.
But Bengal freedom fighters have been denied of it,
Exactly.
have been categorically denied of it.
True.
Subhash Chandra Bose, who has been able to gather some relevance in recent times, has not been given his due by the Congress regime till date. I'm sorry, even if I may sound so, but the current government is also not doing any justice to Subhash Chandra Bose. If we recognize Subhash Chandra Bose for his effort in the Indian independence and freedom struggle, we have to also acknowledge Rajbihari Bose, who was in a way instrumental in giving Subhash the foothold he desired.
Exactly.
The military, the manpower, whatever was required was provided by Rajbihari Bose. He is there, he is nowhere there in the Indian history.
Exactly.
Similarly, Bagha, what I mean to say, Binoy Badal Dinesh. Coming back to Binoy Badal Dinesh were absolutely young lads who sacrificed their life to the extent that in fear of interrogation and torture and humility, one kept on re-wounding himself on his forehead where he had been hit by a bullet by his comrade, so that he would not live to face all these things. Can you imagine the sort of determination, the sort of patriotism, the sort of devotion to sacrifice one's life in this materialistic world today? We won't find such patriotism. We will find such patriotism only in the Taliban, but not in India. Such patriotism is possible in Taliban, ISIC, IS, and all these, what should I say, nonsense religious outfits.
Fanatical
Fanatic.
outfits.
Exactly, fanatic. But these were not religious fanatics. Binoy Badal Dinesh, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Rajbihari Bose, Profullo Chaki, Khudiram Bose. They were not fanatics. They were freedom fighters. And how did the Congress treat them? The Congress branded them as extremists and branded themselves as moderate. What sort of moderates were you? What sort of moderates were you when your fellow countrymen were being tortured, tortured to death, and you called them extremists? What sort of patriotism was there with the Congress from the day one? The Congress had no patriotism.
That's why books are rewritten, na?
This brings me to one more point. Nobody would believe. But when Subhash Chandra Bose was the president of Congress, INC, I don't know if I am wrong at that point of time how it was. Indian National Congress.
It was National Congress.
It was National Congress. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose created a planning commission within the Indian National Congress and made Jawaharlal Nehru the first head of that planning commission. And today in independent India, the planning commission was attributed to Jawaharlal Nehru. Subhash Bose was not given any credit for having visioned such a thing way back before independence. The Republic Day parade that is being organized with so much gay pomp and show, whatever you want, was something which was again started by Subhash Chandra Bose. And how did Gandhi and Motilal Nehru term it? they termed it as a circus. If you don't believe me, read Ami Subhash Bose. Everything is very well documented in those three, what should I say, three editions of Ami Subhash Bose. Motilal Nehru and Gandhi termed it as a circus when the Indian National Congress had a conference in Calcutta. And Subhash Bose had insisted on having its, what do they call? Sorry, I'm forgetting that. Cadre. Cadre, exactly. Subhash Bose had insisted that all cadre should be in uniform, should perform a march, and welcome the national leader. You see, this Republic Day parade was born out of that National Congress conference at Calcutta. Planning Commission developed by Subhash Chandra Bose, credited to Jawaharlal Nehru. I sometimes feel pity. Nobody knows the fact that Mahatma Gandhi was given the name Bapu by Subhash Chandra Bose, not by Jawaharlal Nehru, as is popularly believed. Bapu was given the term by Subhash Chandra Bose. And how did Jawaharlal Nehru treat Gandhi? Father of the nation. Again, by Subhash Chandra Bose. And later on, epitomized as the power of corruption. Gandhi's photo on currency depicts only corruption. Gandhi has been degraded by Nehru by putting his picture on our currency. Gandhi deserved a better, but Nehru, a cunning, selfish politician to the core, who has promoted corruption to independent India till date, be it any party, be it any politician. The seeds of corruption were sowed by Nehru and nobody else. The sacrifices of BINAY BADAL and DINESH, the sacrifices of Khudiram Bose, Gokul Jati, Rajbihari Bose, Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, and many others. I don't know everybody. I don't know all the names. But I know for sure that they were the true sons of the soil. And these Congressy men have been always hungry for power, exploitation, to the extent that not a single policy and law of the British Raj was ever changed by them. They continued the same. Till date, we have many instances where the law, the rule are followed from the British Raj, which have outdated themselves.
Yet we have laws which were formulated in 1857. Can you imagine? We still have those laws.
Yes, Exactly. That's what
We still have those
I'm
laws.
saying.
Disgusting.
I
Absolutely disgusting.
I came across a video very recently where the current, what should I say, Prince of UK was shown conversing with her grandma. Grandma, is it a fact that we have not freed India,
Yeah.
but we have kept her in our loop? I don't know how legally, politically, and factually things are correct about this video. But the way the Congress has treated our freedom fighter leads me to believe perhaps it could be correct.
Yeah. Possible.
We are still, we may still may not be free. We may still may not be free. We may still be under the British because we follow the same rules and laws. We ignore our freedom fighters. Young lads of 18 years, 19 years, 16 years, sacrificing their life. Nobody in India knows that Kangra was the youngest freedom fighter. He was a disciple of Suryoshen, a student of Suryoshen, who sacrificed his life in the Chittagong case. Thanks to the British, they have divided our country into 2, 3, 4 parts and kept this acrimony amongst ourselves. The way they have created the acrimony amongst the Jews and the Islam in Israel, they did the same thing. The same thing which was done in India was repeated in Israel. How was Israel given this piece of land against the wishes of the Palestinians and then kept on? You just have to see, from Second World War, we are almost nearing a century, and our problem of geographical, political, and historical division continues even today.
Yeah. Very true.
So, hats off to the freedom fighters of Bengal. We have never been kind to them. We have never accepted their sacrifice. And perhaps we are doing a great injustice to this nation by ignoring all these freedom fighters. Be it Bengal, be it Odisha, be it Bihar, be it Punjab. Being a Bengali, I am aware of the Bengali. I am not aware of many of the other people of other states who have sacrificed their life. But still, we owe them our independence. And somewhere down the line, we need to rectify our history.
It's true. Absolutely. The series that we have done, I came to know, I spoke to many people from different parts of India, and shocked to know some of the stories they said. Well, being a
Exactly.
student of history, I had not heard about them. Can you imagine? But because
Exactly. That's
it
the,
is like Bengalis know about Bengal, similarly, there was Tamil people, there were people from Odisha. We don't even know about them.
Exactly.
And these freedom fighters, their families have lived. That what? How has the country rewarded them? How has the country shown our gratitude to them?
You see, I would go a step further in saying divide and rule was a policy of the British that has been emphasized in our history. But that's exactly what the Congress has done for these many years. I'm not very biased about the Congress. I am not sure about the BJP. Maybe they too are doing it. I'm not sure about that. But divide and rule has been a very favorite and most successful option with our politicians. Be it the Congress, be it the non-Congress, I am not going into that. But divide and rule still continues. And that's the reason why we do not know the contribution of our freedom fighters from our neighboring states, from other states within this
Country.
nation.
Exactly. I just want to ask you one thing. See, in history, they all write that Hitler changed the books to brainwash, and it is the Britishers who put up the question the maximum times. But did the Britishers not do the same thing in India?
They did
Isn't
exactly.
it a classic example of pot calling the kettle black? How were the Britishers
Exactly.
better? How were the Britishers better?
You see, the Britishers have dominated world politics for a long time. For a long time. And that's the reason why they have a acceptability to their thought. Whereas others who have not been so dominant on the world stage are relegated to their position.
Exactly. How,
So
I keep asking, are the Britishers better than Hitler? What did they do in India? 13 million people died in Bengal famine. What did they do?
exactly.
What did they do?
No,
How is it that Hitler is bad and Britishers are good?
just also remember Subhash Chandra Bose, while he was in Singapore, Indonesia area, he had sent ships of food grains to Bengal to cater to the famine affected population. British did not allow it.
They
The
did not do
Britishers
anything
did not
themselves.
allow it. They did not do anything themselves. They did not allow the what should I say, aid to come inside Bengal. The British, forget about the British. We are doing this program today after the Taliban has taken over Afghanistan. And what did Mr. Joe Biden say yesterday? He stands squarely behind his decision in getting out of Afghanistan. Many are claiming many things. And that is what exactly has been politics all about.
True. Absolutely.
That's exactly what has America has been untrustworthy from day one.
Yeah. They are only concerned about their own benefits. Whichever regime comes.
Soviet Union after its disintegration is concerned about Russia is concerned about itself. China is concerned about itself. It's more interested in developing its economy, more interested in what should I say,
Becoming world number
crushing,
one.
crushing all religious dissent against the state. So democracy, autocracy, all these are terminology. They're nothing else but terminology. Democracy accepted by the world is that of Britain, America, France. And how they deal with their countrymen is nobody's guess nowadays, with the world lying open on internet. Everybody knows what is happening in each and every country.
Exactly.
Yet, because of their acceptability, they define the terminology. But actually, it's really, really very sad, very bad. People are being exploited. Be
Yeah.
it India, be it Taliban, be it Iran, Iraq, Africa, wherever you, it's the people who are being exploited. The politicians are giving high discourse, but actually they are least concerned about these people.
No one is.
That's the tragedy of humanity in the present world.
True. Absolutely. That's absolutely.
That's all what I would like to say. I have to say. That's all I have.
Thank you so much. And I want to tell my viewers कि it was a very nice talk. And हमने सिर्फ फ्रीडम फाइटर्स की बात नहीं की, हमने बहुत सारी बातें की. तो आई थिंक मेरे व्यूअर्स भी बोलेंगे कि हाँ, इनको फिर से बुलाएंगे एंड इस डिस्कशन करेंगे, जो कि एकदम अनएडल्टरेटेड पॉलिटिकल डिस्कशन होगा. सभी का व्यूज एज कॉमन मैन, ये प्लेटफॉर्म सभी के लिए है. तो थैंक यू वेरी मच. नमस्कार. अगर अच्छा लगा तो प्लीज लाइक कीजिए, शेयर कीजिए एंड सब्सक्राइब कीजिए. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you.